Hey everyone, how you guys doing today? Following up from yesterday, we're just gonna keep looking at UV today. I had hoped to have this video be a bit more detailed than it is currently. So, um, but just life got in the way. There were other things to do, and I couldn't get enough done, which is personally upsetting because I'm really excited to be working on this. Um, but yeah, so back to UV. Um, so one thing following up from yesterday that I figured out, I remember out if you guys remember, I was complaining about how the dash H or dash dash help option essentially didn't give you what the actual uh, CLI command does. Just like the descriptions of the options. If you just put like say UV help pip sync, like just put UV help first and then the command, it gives you a fuller thing with everything that is required. So here's where I think my major confusion with pip sync was when syncing an environment, any packages not listed in the requirements.txt or file will be to retain instantaneous packages used. The input file is presumed to be the output of a pip compile or UV export operation in which it will include all transitive dependencies. If transitive dependencies are not present in the file, they will not be installed. Use dash dash strict to warn if any transitive dependencies are missing. So what do I mean by that, right? So essentially, my issue from the previous day is that my pipe project Automa, I was essentially doing, hold on, let me just pull up the exact, uh, okay. So if I did that, right, you just uninstall all this stuff, right? And it would just keep the high level packages, all the transitive dependencies disappeared, which was like confusing to me, especially because if I did, so I did another thing, I was experimenting with dependencies, S script specific dependencies or script dependencies. I don't know, but we'll get to that later. Um, so if I do now that all these packages have been removed, v run me by you see it'll have that install 10 packages in 11 milliseconds, right? Because it refers to the UV log, which does not change, right? So that doesn't change. When you do UV pip sync, that doesn't change. Um, and so it recreates it from the UV log file essentially, right? Um, and then if you let me see if I can just do actually, or yeah, let me see if I can move to another place temporarily. Testing congestion. So, oh, my hello. Let's say that, and then I think it's command option. Yeah. So now it's gone, right? Do the pip sync, it'll remove these things. Oh, it just regenerated a new UV log. Yeah, so it took those high level packages and made a new UV log, right? Which now if I run it again, it won't be actually running those things. But if I run this again, it just removes it again. So now if I run it again, it's going to be installed back again. So we're just going and checking on the egg. Point is, um, uh, the transitive dependencies are not what's meant to be the high level dependencies or your requirements .in files or your PyProject toml files, your high level dependencies are not what pip sync is for. It's for a file that was generated by like a pip compile or UV export that creates a flock file like a requirements.txt or some sort of project log file, uh, and that is then ingested into something like pipsync, right? And pipsync does not actually even sync the environment. That's a whole other issue. So if I was to, there's a way. I think it's one of these. Yeah, I think I'm reading from here. Maybe. Oh, I don't remember actually. Uh, see the environments by default. Python. I honestly forgotten what I was. Hmm. Anyways, we've solved the dilemma of the sync and the compiles. It syncs the environment. Um, but when you're looking to sync the environment, you're gonna want to use like a sturdy. What is UV? Let's look at UV export. Implement project log at present. Hmm. Well, let's look at dash dash format. UV export file log top. Dash dash. Okay, just dumps it std out. Is there no file option? Ah, there is dash dash output file or dash row. Okay, and that's how you would export a log file. UV export or with UV pip file. Okay. Oof, that was weird. But anyways, it was neat like exploring that like help option. And I started experimenting with script dependencies. That guide, I think that's the just reading over here. Running scripts. Python script is a file intended for standalone execution, using UV to execute scripts that script dependencies are managed without manually environments. If your script has no dependencies, you can execute it with UV run. Similarly, if your script depends on modules, there's nothing more to do. Okay. Arguments may be provided to the script. UV run example 5. Can you? So it's essentially just like how you run like traditional Python program, fast API, and I'm guessing other things. It's different. Um, in fact, I actually don't know how fast API would work with the UV. Let's just Google that because fast API kind of comes with its own command line tool, if I remember. No, it's you invoke it with UV core. Sorry, you invoke it with UV core. UV. Just gonna how to fast API. I am recording. I hope I'm recording. Yeah, okay, I'm recording. Like, uh, yeah, okay. So this is your traditional this thing. Yeah, okay, just run it. You got it. Yeah. So, anyways, fast API, and I'm sure there's other like more project like thingies instead of like just you are um launching a script. I'm failing to think of other places where Python isn't run as just a script, like a script, because when you're running, it's just like literally Python, and then you just name the file, right? That's essentially what it is. Um, see, example with Python script name.py. Um, running a script with dependencies. Hmm. When to use script dependencies. So, anyways, the point is like, let me just to showcase what this means. So if I go to UV add data script, uh, UV hub add data script, let's see if that helps. Do add and see how he dev optional group enable all bounds rev tag branch extra sync lock frozen script. There you go. UV add data script main.py. That's a request image. So if you do that, it says updated main.py right there. If you go to main.py, I'm just going to close this. Boom, this little stuff gets added at the top. And that's essentially how inline metadata is stored in PEP 517. It is something, right? There's it's right here. There you go. Python recently added a standard format for inline scripting. Script. have one packaging is right in my experiment. Anyways, so pretty simple, pretty straightforward stuff. Nothing to really break your head over. I'm just gonna keep going through this tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll make more progress tomorrow than I have today. Thank you all for watching and hope you all have a great one. Bye bye.